Hey, welcome back to another episode of Web3 with Whitney. This is day 28. I'm getting very close to 30 days of doing this show, which is both in live stream video form and the podcast, which you're probably listening to because statistically, most people watch the podcast version of this. If you do happen to be listening, the very first, or watching, I should say, if you do happen to be watching the video, the very first link in the description of the video and in my profile is to my website where you can find the podcast version. And that is over here at whitneylauritsen.com/web3. It has links to all the different platforms that I broadcast live on. I go live most days of the week. Sometimes I take a break. I skipped yesterday, for example. And also on this page, you can come and earn some free well coin, which is my social token. I'll share more about that in a moment. But I give it away for free once a week. And you can ask a question. You could submit a topic request and earn some free crypto over there. So if you're tuning in on TikTok, that's through the link in my profile if you want to get some. There's also the playlist for all the videos if you want to catch up on the 27 episodes before this one, and a subscribe button, which is fairly new to the site if you want to listen on your own podcast player, because in the past you could only listen, I think, on this page. Although I would love to hear from some of you who listen to the podcast version of this, because I am perplexed. Based on the download numbers, I'm like, is everybody coming to this website every day? Personally, I would not do that if I was listening to a podcast. I'd rather listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Overcast, which are all links if you sign up here. Because this is a private podcast, technically, meaning it displays differently on the podcast players than your average podcast. I use this platform called Hello Audio to help me do that. And because of Hello Audio, in order to play the show on your own podcast player, your preferred podcast player, instead of on my website, you have to sign up with your name and email. And just a heads up, I will not spam you with emails. I might start sending newsletters at some point, but I really want to take my time with that. And you can always have the option of unsubscribing from the newsletters. But this just gives you an option to connect it all. And it gives me your email address so I can send you some more free Wellcoin. So today I'm going to talk about mental health, well-being, and finding your own version of your flow and feeling more zen in your life, because this is my big passion. For those that don't know this about me yet, I've been working in the health and wellness quote spaces for a while, and I put those on quotations because my work personally has been a bit all over the place because I have a lot of different passions. But I feel like the word wellness has actually started to have some negative connotations in some people's minds. And that makes me sad. But the good news is that the word well-being right now feels very connected to its roots of emotional wellness and mental health. So I much prefer the term well-being, at least for now, unless it gets co-opted and kind of, I don't know what the term, muddled as the word wellness has in a lot of different ways. And I think that happens through capitalism, to be honest. Like, people see opportunities to sell us things. And ironically, today I have a bunch of wellness products and suggestions for you. I've linked to them all in the description, and I want to be fully transparent. Most of those links are affiliate links. So if you buy something I recommend, I get a small commission. I just do that to help monetize my work. However, I really want to be clear. I'm not on here to shill. I'm just on here to share. But when I am sharing something I'm passionate about, I think, well, you might as well use an affiliate link. But a lot of people in the health and wellness space monetize greatly through affiliate links. So they're constantly trying to sell to you in order to make money for themselves, right? But I guess this is a whole nother topic. I don't even know why I'm stepping into that. But I like to be really transparent. At the core of my work, it's not about making money. Yes, I want to generate income for myself, as we all do. There's nothing wrong with money, but I do have some issue with people who prioritize making money before the root cause of helping others. So I'm also going to share with you some free resources, and always happy to answer your questions and encourage you to look beyond my recommendations, because I certainly don't believe that my way is the only way. And I think that's a really important thing to remember while we're talking about Web3. Before I get into that, something occurred to me before I started recording earlier today, which was that you may be listening to or watching this in the background while doing something else. And I think that's awesome. I'm probably going to do that later today. I'm going to pull up one of my favorite podcasts or a Twitter space and listen while I get some things done. I tend to struggle with basic household tasks. My place feels like a dump right now, so I want to do some cleaning, and I'm going to turn on a podcast or, like I said, a Twitter space to just listen to in the background, which makes it more pleasurable. So hopefully you're doing something like that. If not, I encourage you to, as you're listening today, you can always go back and find the links or see anything on the screen later on. But maybe you're doing some errands or driving on your way somewhere, or chores, like I mentioned, or maybe you're working out. You're like, some people love to listen to podcasts or watch something in the background while they're moving their body, and I think that's great too. So I hope that you're doing something that feels good to you, and if you're not yet, maybe that's a little prompt and a reminder, like, hey, you don't have to just sit at your desk all day. You can go and listen to things while you're doing other things, which might sound obvious, but I found myself today realizing that just something simple like that is really good for me in getting things done, because a lot of the times I just feel exhausted. And that was the other big reason that I felt motivated to touch on this subject today, is my energy levels have been tough for me lately, and I'm trying to get to the root of it. Everybody has their opinions and suggestions about raising energy. Number one is sleep. In fact, on my other podcast, This Might Get Uncomfortable, today's guest on February 18th is James Swanwick, who has a whole company about sleep and rest. And blue blocker glasses, which tie into our screen time. I'm not going to talk about that today, but if you are interested in things like that, go check out This Might Get Uncomfortable. That's my other podcast. Anyways, I'm someone who, based on my passion for health and wellness, am always trying to examine, like, what's going on with me physically, mentally, and emotionally to lead to me feeling a certain way. And I want to share with you some things that I try to do when I'm kind of feeling off. So I think that's my intro. I often take notes, but it's so hard to read notes and be present on a live. So I might jump around a little bit today. All right. Let's see. I think I'm going to change up the order of things than they are in the links. Okay. Number one, I've mentioned this before, is my water bottle, my favorite water bottle. It's called a Hydrate Spark. This thing has been such a game changer for me, because hydration is so key to our entire well-being. So it can help with energy, although I will say that on my journey to feel more energized each day, I'm not that sure that my fully hydrated body is, wait, how do I phrase? That didn't come out right. Let me step back for a second. So the Hydrate Spark, the reason I love this is it measures your water intake. So this section down here actually spins and lights up, and you can like customize it. There's all sorts of neat things you can do with this, and you can see more on their Amazon page, which I linked to. And again, if you're watching on TikTok, I'm so sorry I can't share all these links and screen shares with you. You might want to come over to the YouTube video. And if you're listening to this, check the description of this episode. It will have links to everything that I'm mentioning. So I love this about the Hydrate. It has really helped me ensure that I get the minimum amount of water every day. It syncs to my Apple Watch, it syncs to my iPhone, and I'm really on top of it. However, I'm surprised that it has not given me more energy. A lot of people say, like, drink more water and you'll feel energized. That is not always the case for me. So clearly there's something else going on. But I still feel like hydration should be a very important goal for each of us every day. Something that does work wonders, but I'm honestly a little hesitant to share this as a tip, but I'm just going to do it anyway out of full transparency, which might not sound this nuts to you, but I'll explain why I hesitate. Something that has been a game changer for me is this product called Celsius. It is a energy drink, and it's my favorite. I love the taste. I love the flavors. Today I was drinking the sparkling cola one, and I try not to drink it that often. But when I'm feeling a lull and I am frustrated because I need to like gear up and get some work done, or I should say I want to gear up and get some work done, I get kind of depressed if I don't have the energy to do that stuff, right? Like I've noticed this about my own mental health, and I have to kind of balance it out. The reason I hesitate with something like Celsius is because it does have such a strong reaction in my body, and each of us is sensitive to caffeine in different ways, that I feel like I have to be careful. It's almost like taking a drug. It is that intense, which is great. Right now, I'm literally powered by Celsius. Like an hour or two ago, I had that lull and I thought, how am I going to get through all the tasks that I want to accomplish today? And I sat there and thought, all right, I've been drinking tons of water. I already had my cup of coffee. I've been trying all these things today. They're not working. I'm going to have some Celsius. And man, like within 20 or 30 minutes after drinking this, I am on fire. And again, it has like this drug-like reaction in my brain where I'm like, I literally feel like I'm on a drug. So take it as you will. That's my favorite right now. There's actually another brand I didn't think of mentioning that, let me pull up on the screen right now. I think they still have the name Energy Matrix, NRG, the letters, or they changed their name to something mushroom based. Let me pull them up. Om Energy. Okay, they used to be called Energy Matrix. So it's OM, like Om. And this was one of my favorite energy drinks for a while. I would probably go back to them. I'm sorry, the website's taking forever to load for those that are watching. Here's the downside to them is that it's only orange flavor. If you love Tang, do you remember Tang? That's really old school. I barely remember Tang, but I remember the concept of it. If you like orange flavored drinks, then this will be a game changer for you. What I love about it is it's organic. It doesn't have stevia, or I don't remember what sweetener they use. I really like stevia, so I don't mind it. But this does not have it. And it has mushroom powders mixed in, which is related to another thing that I was going to recommend. This is great for a pre-workout, but it is also awesome when you're trying to just be very focused on your work and your flow, especially in the Web3 world, which I'm going to tie it all in to that in a moment. So yeah, you can check out Energy Matrix today. Or sorry, I have to correct myself. Om Energy Plus is what it's called. And I didn't link to that in the description yet, but I'll switch it up and add it in there after I finish going live. The product that's kind of similar to that, which I've recently started to experiment with, is called Mud Water. And I think I actually do have an affiliate link to them, so I'll probably swap that out too. I signed up for like if you scroll all the way down to their website, they have like a referral program that you can join. It's not truly an affiliate program, but anybody can join this to refer them if you would like to try to make a little money. But Mud Water is cool because it's a coffee alternative and it's made with organic ingredients. It's got 1/7 of the caffeine, but because of the other ingredients like the mushrooms in there, it gives you focus, energy, and an immune boost without the jitters, crash, and dependency. I love coffee, so it's hard for me to switch away, but I'm trying to like experiment with other things because coffee does give me that jitters and energy crash. I would say that Celsius, it's like 0 to 60. And sometimes I get jitters from the Celsius. I don't know if I get a crash from Celsius though, somehow. Maybe it's because of the vitamins that they use in here. So you can look them up and see if Celsius feels good to you. I would definitely look into mud water as well. So those are like drink related things. Hydration, number one. Then if you want some caffeine, you've got those options for you, right? I've tried them all. I think they're really good. Mud water, by the way, is basically just chai tea, cacao, and a bunch of like mushroom powders. So I've also experimented with making that on my own, and I just found like a really good chai tea and other mushrooms if you want to buy them, which a bunch of these companies, including Ohm, they make just plain mushroom powders. There's also this brand Four Sigmatic that I like. I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop there. Okay, the next thing that you may have noticed in the background of my videos, I'm going to point out a few things. In the very back, there's this little mini trampoline that is called a Rebounder. And the reason it's there is because it's a visual cue to me every day to move my body. And I got this Bellicon. That's the brand that I have, and I'm an affiliate of theirs too, so that's what's linked to them. It's really cool because they say it's helpful for getting in shape, for losing weight if you want, for toning up, but it also can boost your immune system because it works with your lymph nodes, and it says it can increase your stamina. So I like to think of it as a low physical stress alternative to running. You're just jumping on it like you would any other trampoline. And I try to bounce on it a few times a day. It does make me feel really good. So if I'm feeling kind of like sad and mopey and I have the energy to do something, I'll just go jump on that thing for a few minutes. I love to turn on my favorite music. Sometimes I'll find a workout routine that's on there. Sometimes I go and bring like hand weights and like do some different movements with my arms just to get like my blood flow going and lymph nodes all, I don't know. I was going to say shaken up, but I don't know if that's a term. But I love it. I love rebounding. There's a number of different brands. I chose the Bellicon years ago because I just trusted them. There's a ton of people that I followed online years ago that were using the Bellicon, and I think I got it in 2016. So it's about 6 years old now, and it's never broken. It folds up. It's so durable. So that's what I would consider if you're looking into getting a rebounder. Some of the cheaper ones just might not last as long. The Bellicon not only will last long, but it probably holds a good resale value. So I'm sure I could sell that Bellicon at almost the same price as a new one, or relatively around the same price, because it looks brand new. It's awesome. And I think I mentioned it folds up so it can go under your bed and you can lean it up against walls, and that's really cool too. The other thing, okay, so now I want to switch over to resting and recharging. This is so important. So when I don't have the energy to jump on the Bellicon, when I don't want to drink caffeine, or when I've had caffeine and even with that in my system, I still feel completely drained and burnt out, that's my cue that I need to step away from everything and not do anything. I guess that's relative because technically I will be either on TikTok or I'll be reading a book. But to me, that's not doing anything. I get in my bed. So right behind me, there's two things that have been amazing for me during the day and at night. Number one is a weighted blanket. This is the one that I have. I got it on Amazon. It's $50. And it's made, you can read about it. I think they have an organic version that I didn't get because I wasn't sure how much money I wanted to spend on it. In hindsight, I would go back and probably get maybe a little, quote, higher quality one, but this one's awesome. I like the color. It comes in all different colors, and you can't really see this on my TikTok. So here, I'll show it. This is the blanket. I sleep with it on. I lay in bed and recharge with it. The weight of it is so soothing. Now, I'm neurodivergent, so I fall on the spectrum of ADHD and even autism, which surprised the heck out of me when I found that out. And it turns out that a lot of neurodivergent people or highly sensitive people really benefit from that blanket. So I think that's a huge reason why it works for me. It helps me with my anxiety. It helps me sleep better. I don't want to be in bed without it. I bring it everywhere with me. It's so great. So sometimes when I'm scrolling through Twitter, reading about Web3 or listening to a space, I get in the blanket. Or sometimes I get so stressed out from trying to study Web3 stuff that I need to just go chill out in bed. And hey, Ernest, thanks for being here on TikTok. My phone's going to die soon, so I might abruptly lose anyone who's watching on TikTok, but my live streams will continue on all the other platforms, which are linked in my profile. So I just want to bring up the focus of this, which may seem nothing to do with Web3, is incredibly important because I find Web3 to be really draining and chaotic. As I've mentioned, it overwhelms me. Sometimes I feel like I don't know what I'm doing in this space. I feel like I'm getting behind. Like a lot of negative emotions come up for me alongside the positive emotions. So I need these tools to make it through my day. Like if I'm feeling a lull in energy, I'm either going to rest, as I just said, and lay under my weighted blanket to recharge, or I'm going to try some caffeine or get really hydrated, pump my body up on the rebounder, like try to just get into a good state so that I can participate and work in the Web3 world. And I also think all of these things, I have a few more to share in a moment, but I want to pause here to say that all of these practices, or most of them, right? Maybe not the caffeine, because caffeine's kind of like maybe not the best thing for our overall well-being, but certainly hydrating and moving our body and getting rest. Those things are so important. The deeper and deeper we get into this Web3 world. Last night I was studying the metaverse to a bit. I'm going to get the Oculus glasses and borrow them from a friend and finally try out the actual metaverse experience with the headset. And as I was researching all of this VR, I thought, gosh, like that looks cool, because one thing I like about the Oculus is it has all of these games and fitness routines you can do. I didn't realize this, but you can track your fitness through the Oculus, kind of like you do with your watch. Like as you're playing games, it'll see how much movement you're doing. And I thought, like that's kind of cool. Maybe that'll encourage me to try some different things movement wise. But of course, also the downside of the metaverse, for example, is it might actually cause us to be more stagnant. Maybe we're going to be sitting down in a chair with our headsets on and not moving our body. Maybe we're not getting outside. Maybe we're not paying attention to our physical bodies because we're so focused on the virtual and all the mental side of it. And that can cause a lot of stress, anxiety, depression even, that can mess with us in a lot of ways. So I think as we enter into Web3 and get more involved there, we're going to need to focus on all these well-being practices and tune into ourselves more for our mental health. And even though caffeine, I have mixed feelings on from an overall well-being or wellness, like health perspective, to me, I use it so that I don't get into these funks of being frustrated with low energy. I would rather give myself an artificial boost of energy so I can get into my flow, which makes me feel better, than if I'm completely out of my flow and feeling like I can't do anything because I'm so low energy. That actually interferes with my mental health, if that makes sense. So that's why that was integrated into this. One other thing, speaking of rest, actually two more things, is this big pillow behind me. I'm going to lean back for TikTok. I hide this from most of my videos, my podcasts, my Zoom calls. I'm always so embarrassed for people to see this because I just feel like it's such an eyesore, but I'm keeping it here today along with the weighted blanket because I'm obsessed with this pillow. This is a full body pillow from this brand Essentia that I got 2 years ago. I love Essentia. I actually co-host their podcast called Essentia Rise and Thrive. We're gearing up for season 2. You can go check out season 1 now for actually a ton of wellness tips. They've had amazing guests on the show, and we're right now lining up our guests for season. I almost said season 4, season 2. Anyway, so Essentia, there's this body pillow. When I'm laying down to rest, I go and lay in here with my weighted blanket on, and man, I feel on cloud 9. It helps me so much with reducing my stress. There's something about the feeling of a big pillow surrounding you and a weighted blanket on top of you. Some people think that would make them feel like super claustrophobic, but for me, it actually helps with my nervous system. It re-regulates me, and I feel like I can just like calm down because I feel safe and protected, and even thinking about it makes me feel really good. So I will do that sometimes when I'm either to step away from technology or my computer. Sometimes, like I said, I'm still on my phone on TikTok or reading a book on my iPad or something. But I'll go and lay in there while I'm listening to a podcast sometimes, while I'm listening to a Twitter space, while I'm scrolling through Twitter, so I can kind of take care of my body while I'm still engaging in my work. And then the ideal situation, though, if you really want to step away, would be to do a meditation or to listen to some calming music. So I have 2 tips for you there. One I mentioned recently in an episode, which is Kenji Summers. I linked to his website here. Very simple. I love simple websites like this. And he does a bunch of different meditations. He's doing meditations in the metaverse, including some this weekend. And I was thinking about going to one, especially once I get the Oculus. But it turns out that you do not need the Oculus to participate in his metaverse meditations, which was really exciting. So you can go on his website, find links to a bunch. I've listened to this love meditation that's listed on the bottom of his website. Amazing. This is what I mentioned a few days ago with him, which is that just a couple minutes into this meditation, I felt so much more relaxed, so much more zen. I was really impressed. He has an incredible voice. He's been an artist, a meditation guide, a mindfulness instructor, brand builder, and creative strategist. So he's an incredible person to have in the Web3 space. The other tool that I've been using for a while is on this YouTube channel called Mind Amend. Another game changer for me. I cannot rave enough about this channel. He has, Jason is his name, who runs this channel. It's brainwave entertainment, he calls it. Isochronic tones and ambient soundscapes. Please go listen to one of these and tell me what you think. It is so remarkable. He has some for focus. He has some that are like really high pace. Like he's got a lot of kind of house music type tracks, but he also has really slow like piano music. He has fall asleep and stay asleep tracks that are 12 hours long. I mean, I don't know how he does it, how he releases so much. Also, all the videos have really cool graphics or video footage in the background. This is another great one, Rain on Tin Roof. I listened to this once while I was working, and I just felt like I was listening to actual rain. It was incredible. So this is my number one place I go to when I want to get into the zone, when I wanted to get in my flow, or I will turn it on and take a nap or try to sleep. And I will do that with the weighted blanket and the body pillow. So those are my tips for that. I also have a couple quick practical tips for managing overwhelm on your computer, which I'm going to get to in a moment. Before I do, I wanted to share this post that I saw on LinkedIn today. I try to spend a little bit of time on LinkedIn to connect with people. A great place for Web3 related business things. And this post came up from Krista Shelton, who is a certified personal trainer and behavioral change specialist. She shared a quote that said, "For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, It must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. And this really resonated with me because, especially as I've entered into Web3 and started this series, I feel like a lot of times I'm coming undone. I'll get embarrassed about things. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm camera ready. Like today, I didn't do anything aside from putting on a shirt. I didn't do my hair. I didn't do my makeup. And some people perceive that as being undone, right? That can feel really vulnerable, especially as a woman, to not feel like you're camera ready. But my aim is not to be like attractive. My aim is to be focused on connecting with people and supporting people and learning. And that's a very superficial thing, but sometimes it does make me feel like I'm undone. My background, thinking about like, what does it look like behind me while someone's watching these videos? But also feeling insecure about the videos that I'm making. Like, do they look professional? Do they look unpolished? Are people going to judge me for my style, for the length of it, for the content? All those fears that come up that actually get in our way. And to the point of Cynthia Oselli, who's, if I'm pronouncing it right, is the person who's quoted in this LinkedIn post, that's actually how we achieve our greatest expression, just like a seed. It's coming, the insides come out and everything's changing. And wow, if I had delayed this series any longer because I was afraid of people of seeing my quote insides, which was my imperfections, my flaws, my lack of polish or whatever as I go through this process, I would not have achieved what I have achieved in 30 days. As I said before, it's not even been 30 days yet, but so much has changed for me. I have gotten immersed in this Web3 world on a whole new level, and I hope that you have too. I hope, especially for those that have listened to most, if not all of these episodes or watched them, that you've been along this journey too. And I really encourage you, if you have not yet, to move away from just listening and watching and being in the audience to actually getting involved in the ways that Web3 feels right for you. And let's see. Oh, yes. I thought this was also a beautiful point here too. Especially when I was at the very beginning of this project, this last line, to someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. And I remember when the first few days of this project were a mess, in my opinion. Like, I had so many tech issues. The internet wasn't working well. My microphone wasn't working well. I was so frustrated. And to me, I was terrified of people witnessing that as destruction. And I did have at least one person kind of complain to me about the tech issues that I was having and wrote me a kind of unkind message. And then another person wrote me feeling frustrated because they were getting a lot of notifications about my videos and they were annoyed that I think it was related to the tech issues. I had to keep restarting the videos so they would pop up over and over again. This person was irritated with constantly being reminded of my show, and I felt so embarrassed. And because it was like, it's not perfect. They're seeing the flaws. Like they're not going to give me the chance that I need to grow through this. But that's okay. And actually, doing this series, despite the issues I had for the first 10 episodes, were so important for me. And a bigger lesson here, whenever you're starting something new, you may be fumbling through it. You may fumble through buying NFTs, for example. You may get scammed. You may feel overwhelmed. You may not feel like you know what's going on. You may feel behind. There's a lot of things that people experience in this Web3 space. You may have FOMO, on and on. A lot of negativity can come up for us. And this is part of the practice. All of these things I mentioned are tools and mostly external tools, aside from the meditations that Kenji is offering and the audio tracks that Jason is offering on his YouTube channel. Turning more inward and using kind of the external things like the pillow or the rebounder or the weighted blanket, like all those things are aiding you and aiding me at least to turn inward, recharge, ground yourself so that you can move forward. And the next thing that I want to share with you are some practical tools that have helped me online with anytime I'm feeling overwhelmed. Number one is this app that you can install, or extension you can install. I think it's mainly for Chrome, but it does work on Brave. I switched over to the Brave browser actually during this series, and I'm obsessed with the Brave browser for reasons I'm not going to get into today. But gettoby.com is where you can go install it on either Chrome or Brave. I don't know if it works for other platforms, but I've used them on both those browsers. And it is for, it says bookmarks are for books, not browsers. Organize your browser tabs into Toby so you can access key resources in one click instead of 7. So I don't use the bookmarks that are built into my browser anymore. I use this, and I'll show you a visual if you're watching. So I have a Web3 folder here where I collect all the resources I come across. There are actually about 100 in there right now that I need to go through. But anything that I've been wanting to reference is stored in here. And it's really helpful for me because, like many people, I'll open up all these tabs and feel like so overwhelmed looking at them. They're all the things I intend to do, but in that moment, I haven't gotten around to. So instead of leaving all my tabs open, I put them in Toby to be organized. Now, the hard part is actually going back to Toby and pulling up these links, which I do from time to time. But one thing I would like to do once I get more into the flow and maybe more of a daily practice is to look at least one of my saved resources in Toby and then delete it from Toby so I can move on with my life. I don't know if I'll ever get to all of them, but that's my aim. The other tool that's kind of similar to Toby that I still use, but for a little bit of a different reason, maybe just because I used to use this, and I'm like in this transition, is called Pocket. If you go to getpocket.com, Getpocket works similarly but differently. Similarly in that you can save things and categorize them like you can with Toby, but it also will help you find other things. I'm subscribed to their newsletter, and I think that they get to know your interests. Oh yeah, that is how it works. So when you save a resource or like a web page to Pocket, it kind of uses their algorithm to see what you're interested in, and then it curates things based on your interests and sends you a daily newsletter, or you can access it within the app. I love it. It works so well. I find amazing articles on here. So that's the main reason I keep using it. And this is a look into my Web3 tag on Pocket. I only have a few things in there because, like I said, I mostly use Toby. But this is what it looks like. If you prefer this over Toby, cool. You can go into their Discover section, which I never use, but this has like essential reads. So I think this is also based on your interests. It's pretty awesome, or maybe this is just the best of the web. I don't know. Either way, I'm interested in most of these articles, so I really feel like it knows me. I've also mentioned how I use the bookmarks in Twitter, and since Twitter is the very first place I go every day to look at what's going on in Web3, bookmarks are amazing. So if you ever get into Twitter and you feel overwhelmed, or you see a tweet and you're like, I don't have the time or energy to read this right now, but I don't want to lose this, bookmark it. It works wonders. I also use bookmarks as a way to come back to things that I've really enjoyed. So in my bookmarks today, I have a Twitter space that I haven't listened to yet, but apparently it's very entertaining, a crypto debate. I have an article from fellow Rally member Joe, who has a great newsletter and website called The Tilt. And hey, a fellow friend and Twitter user is here watching on LinkedIn right now. Hey, how's it going? Actually, I'm about to mention something else you're involved with, so thanks for being here. And by the way, do you pronounce your name Rafi? Is that right? I really dislike mispronouncing people's names, so let me know if I got it right. And we both work with the company Podetize, by the way. That's how we know each other. So I'm giving her a little shout out. And you subscribe to Twitter Blue. That's awesome. I've been thinking about signing up for Twitter Blue, but I'm not in a rush. For those that don't know, Twitter Blue, right now, to me, the main benefit is that you can change your profile picture to an NFT. But I'm curious if, and it's, sorry, see, even in my head right now, I'm like, is it Rafi or Rafi? See, my head, have such a struggle with, if I had a learning disability, it would be not understanding how to pronounce things. I really struggle with that. And I get so insecure whenever it comes to mispronouncing somebody's name because I don't want them to ever feel offended. So I hope that that I never offend anyone by mispronouncing. So Rafi, Raffie is the, what's it called? Like the terminology for how to pronounce something, but you spell it Raphie. So thank you so much for sharing that with me. Anyways, we know each other through Podetize, and she is entering into a new project that I'm going to share with you at the end of this today. But I wanted to finish up with a few more things. So speaking of Twitter, I thought this was really cool news. Reese Witherspoon is going to start adapting NFTs by female creators into movies and TV shows. I've seen her talk a ton about NFTs on her social over the past few weeks at least. And she partnered with World of Women. So I don't know exactly what they plan to do. There's an article from Variety here. It says, while the crypto and NFT space is largely dominated by men, they're inspired leaders like World of Women creating incredible communities for women during this massive shift for media and technology, according to Reese. And so I guess that they're going to partner to expand the universe of characters and develop innovative scripted and unscripted content. I'm so curious what that's going to look like. And it just goes to show where things are headed. When you see, there's so much news, by the way, one other thing to mention, kind of along the same point here. I love this account, Watcher Guru. I mentioned them before. They give you real-time updates on crypto and NFTs. I don't know if it's exclusive to that or if they cover all of Web3. But there's so much news going on right now. So another one is that Victoria's Secret is planning to enter into the metaverse to sell undergarments, footwear, and fashion accessories. So I guess they do cover the metaverse. They should just say Web3, but they call it crypto and NFTs only on their profile, which I think does not cover all of what Web3 is. But if you go through their account, you can see all of these changes happening in this world right now, all of the developments that are happening. And it's exciting. It's overwhelming. You may want to read this under a weighted blanket like I do sometimes because I haven't even refreshed it in a little bit. And I bet you so much news has happened. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Cool. They have a whole newsletter as well that I might subscribe to. But newsletters really overwhelm me too. So I try not to read too many newsletters. Okay. Luckily, the Victoria's Secret news is the latest news that they have shared there. So I keep an eye on their account just to see the developments that are going on. So those are my resources for you today. I feel like I shared so much. And Rafi just shared an account, Madeline Schuyler. I'm going to go look up that account because it does not ring a bell. Let's see. My computer is running a little slow while I'm live streaming. Madeline. Aha. It doesn't look familiar to me, but I am going to start following her. I assume, I wish everybody would put their pronouns on their profiles, because along with not wanting to offend anyone by mispronouncing their name, I also don't want to identify them incorrectly. But Madeline, based on the name in the photo, I'm assuming is a woman, but I could be wrong. Maybe Rafi. So that looks like a great account. Awesome. I'm definitely going to, well, I already followed, but I'm going to add Madeline to my Web3 list and keep an eye on the work that they're putting out there in the world. So before I wrap up today, the last thing that I want to share is, since this episode has been so centered around mental health and well-being, I want to. The final resource is actually one of my own that I've been working on for almost 2 years now, and Rafi is part of it. It's called Beyond Measure, and it's a private community. It's completely free to join. You can learn more about it on my website, whitneylauritsen.com. It's linked below, or if you just go to whitneylauritsen.com, at the very top of the screen, there are links to Beyond Measure as well as Web3 with Whitney, so you can find everything in one place. And I created this community in 2020, been experimenting kind of in a beta test for ever since that. I think I officially launched it in June 2020. And it's really been designed around having open conversations about all different elements of life. And one thing that we do once a month is we talk about finances. We talk about Web3, cryptocurrency, NFTs. We talk about stock investing and saving money and just being smart, however you define that financially. And it's just been one of the greatest projects I've ever worked on. Basically, I lead and organize the community, but because it is a community, the members play a huge role in shaping how everything goes. And people post things and share things with one another, and it's just amazing. So I consider it a well-being community, but it's not about teaching you anything. It's just about sharing and connecting and talking about things that you're interested and passionate about in a safe, supported, non-judgmental space. And just a few days ago, I opened it up to the public for the very first time. Like I mentioned, for almost 2 years, it's been in beta testing. It's been private, invite only, but now anybody can come check it out. So if this episode resonated with you, then I have a feeling the Beyond Measure community would resonate with you too. We meet every Saturday on a live call. So that includes tomorrow, February 19th. If you're listening past then, don't worry. Our next call will be the following Saturday. And you can go read all about it. You can click this button. It brings you into the group just to get a better feel for it. You can come join a call and see if it feels like something you want to participate in ongoing. I'm also going to tie that into my Rally Creator Coin at some point. I'm developing NFTs based around Beyond Measure as well. I want to reward Beyond Measure members with NFTs to thank them for participating. So Rafi, stay tuned. I'm glad that you entered in. And also, sometimes I do surprise airdrops to the members, just like I do with this show. So if that sounds appealing to you, just go over to whitneylauritsen.com/beyond-measure, or just go to whitneylauritsen.com and click the link up at the top, and you can come check it out. I'd love to have you there. And to me, that would be amazing, because I would love to actually meet you. One of the hardest things for me when I'm podcasting or live streaming is feeling like I'm just talking to you. But the reason I do live streams, especially for this show, is to remind you over and over again that this is a conversation. We're in this together. This is not about me always teaching you. You teach me just as much. Rafi is a great example. She shared a Twitter account I didn't even know about, right? I've met amazing people through this series. I'm always learning. I'm in a place of just, I want to be in that ongoing beginner's mind with Web3. That's my hope. I hope I never feel like an expert, and I don't even know if I really believe that you can be an expert in anything, because our entire lives are evolving. Things are always changing. And if we stay at a place of the beginner's mind, it keeps us humble. It keeps us as learners, it helps us connect with others and feel more equality. That's my big aim. That's at the core beyond measure in everything that I do. So I would love to have you in there just so I can meet with you and connect with you more. But if it's not your thing, I hope that you do reach out on a platform like Twitter or Instagram or somewhere else where we can connect more, because I would love to get to know you. I want to know who you are, where you're at in the journey. I want to hear your questions. I want to send you the well coin. I just want to be part of your life as much as you're part of mine. So thank you so much for watching or listening. I'll be back again soon, either tomorrow or the next day. Right now I'm kind of in an every other day schedule, but sometimes I do multiple days in a row. It's just, that's my flow. My flow is tuning into myself to see when I'm ready to do the next video. All of the past episodes are at whitneylauritsen.com. And I'm working on building up the blog posts, as I've mentioned, where you can find like resources and maybe even transcripts of the episodes. It'll be a little bit more work, but since Rafi, I don't know if you're still here, but Rafi and I both work with this company called Podetize. I consult with them on their social media strategy, and Podetize hosts all of my other shows. In fact, this is the only project, the audio only project that I'm doing right now that is not part of Podetize. I started it on Hello Audio as an experiment. Actually, I have 2 shows on Hello Audio. So I should say my main show, This Might Get Uncomfortable, is on Podetize. The Essentia Rise and Thrive podcast I mentioned earlier is on Podetize. I have another show called the Live E-commerce podcast. That's on Podetize. And what I love about Podetize is that they transcribe and make show notes for your episodes. And maybe I'll put the show on Podetize eventually, just so I can get all my show notes done. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for listening or watching. I hope to hear from you soon. And between now and the next episode, I'm wishing you all the very best with your well-being and your Web3 journey. Bye for now.